Mara Colecchia, welcome to my channel. I'm delighted to have you here. Um, I've looked at your work now for so many weeks as we've been preparing this presentation, and I continue to be amazed by it. And I think that everyone else who watches will also be amazed by it. So welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here with you, and I hope I'm going to be a good guest to your channel.
Oh, you will, I guarantee. Now, your work, I'm looking at this caterpillar necklace that you designed, and it's spectacular. And nobody does anything like this at all. So I just want to share with people what your work is like before we move on to your early life in Italy and your early career, okay? Now, your work has been published quite a bit in European fashion magazines like L'Officiel, right? And here we have an image of a beautiful model wearing your caterpillar necklace in L'Oficial magazine, the Spain version, the Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is 2021. So I just want people to know that your work is widely published in Europe, especially, a little bit less so in America. But then I would say that your aesthetic is very much a European aesthetic. Okay. And here's a close-up of the model wearing this beautiful caterpillar necklace and a detail of the beading on the caterpillar
Yeah.
necklace. And here's a completely different necklace, the beetle collar, that's featured in Gimaro magazine, which I'd never heard about until you told me about it.
Mhm.
And here's a detail, a close-up of this beetle necklace. So I just want people to see the kind of work that you've been producing. I think these two necklaces are very much characteristic of your style, your aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
And
I
I want to
think
share
so.
with people that you're really very educated in the arts. In 1999, you got your BA, your Bachelor of Arts in Urbino, Italy, which is your hometown. We'll get to that in just a second. In 2005, you got your Master of Fine Arts in Rome. Is that correct?
No, it's not fine arts. Actually, it was game design and animation. I was in animation.
Okay, very good. So it's
Game
just the
design.
Master of Arts, right?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
not really fine arts, but, which I wanted to, but I decided to get into animation because it was more chance to get employed.
Okay, very good.
Hmm.
In 2008, you relocated from Italy to the United States, and you're actually based in the Los Angeles area. And you gradually settled into the LA art scene, and you became a member of the Los Angeles Art
Yeah,
Association.
Los Angeles Art Association. Yeah.
Okay. And in 2019, only 5 years ago, is when you opened Mara Bijou, which is your jewelry company, your jewelry business.
Hmm.
So our talk today has three different parts. The first part is your early life and your early career. The second part is your jewelry design, and the third part is your photographic styling. You are a photographic stylist, and you're going to share with us today some of the pieces of your work that you have been styling
It's
for the
exciting. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you're amazing. You've been styling these pieces for these European fashion magazines, which actually can't wait to publish them because
Mhm.
not only are the pieces amazing, but the styling is amazing. Okay.
Mhm.
So we begin with your early life and career. Here's an image of you sitting on kind of a ledge or a fence when you were 5 years old in Urbino, Italy. Tell me, what was it like to grow up in Urbino?
Urbino is definitely a very slow-paced place. Very tiny, pretty much remained the same from the Renaissance. You're surrounded with this beautiful, as in the picture, you can see the palace. That's the Duke of Montefeltro,
Mhm.
which was a picture of the Renaissance. So in that palace, there is amazing work of art from Piero della Francesca, Raphael, Paolo Uccello, you name it, all the masters. And so I was basically grown up surrounded by these pieces of art as if it was natural to have these pieces of art in your life. So it's just part of your being. And
Exactly. And I want to share with people where Urbino is within Italy. And so here this image gives a map. Urbino is the northeast portion of Italy, not too far from the ocean. Is that the Adriatic Sea there?
yeah, you can be there in 45 minutes drive to the sea. Yeah.
Okay. You grew up 45 minutes away from the Adriatic Sea.
Yeah.
You're also not too far from Venice. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's probably 4 hours by train.
Okay. And here's an image of the Ducal Palace, and this is where you actually went to school. and you were surrounded. It's fantastic. It's amazing. Is it, I think it's a 15th century or a 15th
Yeah,
century building.
I'm not sure anymore.
All right,
It's
I'll
been
look that
years.
up. And
But
right,
I know that I think when they made the scenic imagery for Harry Potter, they took that as inspiration for Hogwarts.
oh, really? I didn't
Hogwarts. I
really.
heard that
Oh,
because especially the facade with the two column, and
mm,
so it's so characteristic. And so I think it's a very iconic structure, of
yeah.
course, medieval.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's the palace where I actually was lucky enough to do my years of college, where I studied animation
Right,
inside of the last floor on top.
right.
Yeah,
And then anytime you wanted to, it was walled off, but you could enter the gallery, the art gallery that is
yeah,
housed inside of this fantastic building. Is that right? You could
right.
go there anytime.
Yeah, which I recommend everybody goes visiting Italy, just go to that part because everybody goes to Tuscany, which is on the west side, but you can find marvels also on the east side of Italy, like where Urbino is located.
Urbino is located in Marche, is that correct? In the Marche,
Marche.
Marche
Hmm.
region. Okay.
Yeah,
Instead of Tuscany, it's Marche region. Okay.
yeah,
So I had asked you to share with our viewers a few of the works of art that you grew up loving. Okay.
hmm.
Image, we have The Miracle of the Desecrated Host by Paolo Cello. What do you love about this in brief?
So I love about that it looks like a comic strips. This
Mm,
Paolo Cello is a great designer. He invented the comic strips. You read from left to right, and there is so many characters involved telling a story without words. So it's amazing, especially for me that I studied animation. I found this extremely dynamic and so contemporary.
mm. And the colors are so rich and beautiful.
Yes.
You
Beautiful.
also love the Madonna of the Senegalia. Am I pronouncing that?
Senegal, yeah.
Senegalia?
Mhm.
Okay. What do you love about this painting?
That painting I always loved since an early age because of the child, the baby Jesus is wearing that beautiful necklace with a coral. So
Mm,
again, there is a lot of red in this Paulucello and this Piero Francesco. And I thought it was so incredible that the piece is so big. The jewelry it takes so much space in the painting, and I thought it was so stylish and looks almost like the baby's in pose. And I thought it was like amazing the sense of style of this piece. Even the way everybody is standing so elegantly, it looks like it was all set up, and I find it very contemporary.
yeah, Piero della Francesca. Right.
Hmm.
Absolutely one of the greatest masters. And
Yeah.
we're seeing this piece all the time. And here's another one by Raphael. Now, Urbino is the hometown of Raphael, as we'll see in just a minute. What do you love about this La Muta?
La muta, it means the mute.
Okay.
Yeah. She looks like alive. She looks like he's gonna, blink. She can't talk, but she looks so alive. Also, especially being a mute, she say everything with her glance and their hands. If you look at the hands,
Mm,
it's so interesting that also the printing is cat, where the hands almost not even finished. And I thought that's so interesting. The cat, all the frame of the image,
mhm,
because the hands are so eloquent,
mhm.
and it's a masterpiece, definitely a masterpiece of art.
Well said, well said. Um, and here we come to a couple of images of Raphael's home
Hmm.
in Urbino. He was born in Urbino. And I assume you've been inside this house more than
Yeah.
once, right?
Hmm.
And the paintings, of course, that are shown on the right-hand image were not there when Raphael lived there. But I want to ask you, what was it like to stand inside this house knowing that one of the greatest artists in the world grew up there?
I mean, it's kind of like common in Italy to have these houses of famous people that you don't really, it's just part of the life. Because we have, if you go to Pesaro, which is on the coast, there is a house of Gioacchino Rossini, which we always go inside. So it's kind of like part of the life. The one thing though, I can say that it's kind of a way to become familiar with these important characters. like if they're still alive, they're still there. It's like entering the house of friends or family. So it makes you feel so connected to the past,
Got it.
which is something that I think in the United States is very hard to achieve. I mean, harder,
Yeah.
right? To be
Yes.
so connected, linked with the past.
Well, our buildings aren't nearly as old,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
even these cost probably more, but it just doesn't go that back in time. Yeah.
I agree. And so
Mhm.
now we turn to some of your earliest works of art here, just very briefly. By the time you were 12 years old, you made these beautiful foil dolls, which are very
Mhm.
alive, and you're interested in the human form, it seems to me.
Yeah.
And by the time you were 16 years old, you were doing theater installations. You were doing set design for
Mhm.
theater
My
installations.
school theater, yeah, we had the theater class. I was a member of for 5 years. Yeah.
Okay. By 18 years old, you're painting backdrops for theater
Mhm.
productions here for your theater class.
Yeah.
And you also began performing in
Mhm.
theatrical productions with the Teatro della Luce. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
great. You say that.
Trying, you've been helping me. And this was, what play was this again? You told me, but I forgot.
Was the oh my a street chair name's Desire.
Our name
Tennessee
Desire,
Williams.
Tennessee
Yeah.
Williams. Okay. And so we move on now. By this time, you had moved to LA, I think. And here is
Mhm.
a ceramic sculpture called
Yeah.
Wig with Bones, right?
Mhm.
And it's glazed ceramics. What did you mean by this piece, just briefly?
So this piece was for a show, like see in the next slide is in a gallery. Is a show that it was called Habitual. It's about all those habits that we have in our daily life, especially marriage and relationships. It was patronized by the gay community, so it was about the reformation of the family. And I thought a wig, which looks a very ancient wig, like old style, fashion style. Uh, with bones, it reminds us that a lot of these artifacts that we wear metaphorically in our gender roles are becoming old, like the
Mm,
bones. They're bones, they're sitting there.
okay.
And so that was the idea to put bones with a wig, a wig is an artifact. It's not how we really are, it's a camouflage.
True. It's a
So it
persona.
means like take off your camouflage and be yourself,
Right, right.
be
Well said.
authentic.
Well said. Now, you also made a version in textiles, in fabrics, and here is this. It's called I Feel Empty. And it's from
Yeah.
a couple of years later. And the amazing thing about this piece here, we're looking at, we can kind of see on the left little sequins that you've added. And then on the right is an image of the piece from the front, and it's hollow, it's empty on the
Mhm.
inside. And as we move on to this next image, we can see a closer up detail of the sequins you were stitching on. And I love that you chose these kind of iridescent, sort of
Mhm.
whitish, bright, but not too bright sequins, and you stitch them on. Now, how do the sequins relate to this title, I Feel Empty?
So I was so much in the sequence at that point. I can't believe I was stitching them everywhere. This piece is actually inspired by Louise Bourgeois. I went to the Getty Villa, the museum, and it was exhibit of Louise Bourgeois, and I love her textiles. And I saw this is a repurposed cover for my couch abandoned on the street of LA, which
Okay.
I reused like she was doing. She was re
Mhm.
using old textile, and it really represents the way I felt at that time. I felt so empty because
Mhm.
my artistic career wasn't going anywhere. I
Mhm.
felt disconnected, isolated, and so I stitched one by one all those letters that say I feel empty, because the effort of stitching them one sequence at a time, it was so tedious that
Mhm.
really resembled the way I felt, tired and empty, and I had nothing to give anymore. So I think it's a metaphor of the right of the feeling that I had.
Yeah, a feeling of like struggle and trying so hard and then not getting the outcomes that you were working for.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love that you made the letters kind of asymmetrical. They're not perfect, they're
Yeah.
imperfect. I love their imperfection. Now, you're still interested in the notion of wigs. In this
Mhm.
next image, this is a reconstructed wig in a museum exhibit.
Yeah.
Um, and the kind of wig that Marie Antoinette wore. I mean, there are paintings of her wearing
Yeah,
wigs of this nature, kind of a wig, kind of a headdress, more than a wig. Uh,
yeah.
and you took this photo in Naples, and then
Hmm.
you created your own headdress in response, and it's shown
Yeah,
here. It's called totemic hat, right? And
yeah.
you yourself are wearing it. And this is a fabulous image with the pink background, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
just,
that was very lucky shot we did in LA. Yeah. But the totemic hat is really resembling the shape of that wig, which is very peculiar.
mm,
And it was a big statement that I made about these masculine shapes in female fashion.
right, right.
Yeah, she was kind of like a statement about women rights and gender reformation. Again, being in LA, this is a very, very hot topic. So
Of course.
a
Of
lot of
course.
my work was connected with that. Yeah.
Okay. And in this next image, you're wearing a clown outfit that you made, you designed, and then you wore. Tell us why you wore it. Why did you put this on?
Oh yeah, because I was modeling. I've been professional art model for 15 years in LA, the major colleges and animation studios. So I was a character model. So I was creating characters that animators can draw and sketch during their lunch break or during specific hours. The studios allow them to do that to perfection their style and their abilities. So I was always called to create new characters, and I had a lot of fun making headpieces and wearable. Even the nose I'm wearing, that's I created, it was a 3D printed. We will see that more in detail later, but yeah, it was all the purpose of become a character myself for the job that I was performing.
And this character is completely your creation. And the animators who are trying to get better at drawing and learning about characters love
Mhm.
this. And it's
Yeah.
very difficult to do. It's difficult for you to create a totally new character, but they
Mhm.
absolutely love it because you're giving them ideas that they will
Yes, I
carry.
have so many characters that they love. The one that I loved more was the Marie Antoinette, which I still had a week. I don't have beautiful photos of that, unfortunately. But yeah, still they remember some of them. Like, oh, I remember your Marie Antoinette. So it's a little bit of a little satisfaction.
You're helping them improve their animator skills, excuse me,
Yeah.
for getting better at drawing. So people
Hmm.
are practicing drawing. Now, in this next one, in this clown outfit image, excuse me here, uh,
Hmm.
are wearing this nose that you 3D printed a model of this
Right.
jeweled nose, and it's cast in base metal, and then coated in, is it coated in karat gold? Is that correct?
This no, I made some of them that are in silver sterling or gold. This one is just brass
Okay.
and it was 3D printed. So
Mhm.
it's a powder that they print and they compress together. And then I just attach the gems. Again, this is connected with the wig outfit. It was a statement about women rights and gender reformation, as you can totally see from this picture. And I had a lot of fun. I was wearing that all the time. People were recognizing me when I was going to opening, and beside my character modeling, I was wearing them when I was going to art openings, and people just recognized me with that. So it was a nice time I had in a way. It was the right place where to do those things.
In LA. So on the right, we see you at a gallery opening for two of your ceramic sculptures, and you are wearing this nose jewel, as you call it.
Mhm.
Pretty amazing, pretty cool. Now we turn to your professional jewelry design, which, I think we just mentioned, began in 2019 when you opened Mara Cole Bijou, your company,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You were very much influenced. Y- there was a fire in LA near where you lived, and you had to evacuate your home, and you
Yeah.
moved up to LA. You were in what?
I was in Ojai. I just moved to Ojai
Okay,
after 10 years in LA.
okay,
And as soon as I arrived, the fire started. So I had to go back to LA. And
yeah,
I start suspecting maybe I shouldn't go there because the universe pushed me away. Yeah.
right. And then you took up beading. You took up beading because you saw in a book, I think an Italian book whose title we're not sure about, so we couldn't include that.
Yeah.
You saw in the book a couple of beaded necklaces that were attributed to, I don't know how to pronounce her name exactly, but I think it's Felice Reeks. Reese?
Hmm.
whatever. And
Yeah.
she was one of the major designers of the Wiener Werkstatt, right?
Hmm.
She produced not only designs for beaded necklaces, but designs for beaded bags and costumes and works of art
Yeah.
and works of interior design. So
Amazing.
she
Yeah.
did a lot of different designs, but one of her specialties was beadwork, and she was among several Wiener Werkstatt bead artists who drew designs for beadwork that were then executed by, I suppose, mostly women
Hmm.
in their homes, making these designs
Yeah.
on their own, right? So that's how the Wiener Werkstatt beadwork production
Yeah.
department functioned with the cottage industry, right? So here's this beautiful beaded necklace on the right, and then an image of Felice Ries here,
Hmm.
uh, unknown photographer. I think she was half Japanese, half
Looks like, yeah.
European,
Hmm.
probably.
Yeah.
And then here's another beaded lariat that is attributed to her, but we don't have any proof. I don't think that she actually did it. But that was definitely her style of
Yeah.
beaded jewelry. And here we know that she did design this beaded bag, okay, because this is in
Hmm.
the archives in Vienna.
Beautiful.
So I know. And so you saw these pieces in a book,
Hmm.
and you had been evacuated from the fire,
Hmm.
were living in LA, and you took up beading. This is how it started, right?
Yeah, it was very emotional because I was again empty one more time. I
Mm.
was scared. It was the whole situation was unsettling. And I took this one class with this lady that she's Armenian. So she taught me the first stitch that I learned, which is the chenille, tubular chenille.
Okay.
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right,
You
chenille.
are. You are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And which is kind of unusual because I haven't seen anyone in LA doing that stitch.
Okay.
I was kind of connecting with this European lady, and I was European too. So there was like this kind of like mystical
Mm.
uh, connection, and I had no idea what beading was, and something clicked, and
Mm.
I felt like I'm like, oh my God, this is fabulous. I was like, how can I never really know what beads are? And in Italy, we don't have a traditional beading. We have embroidery. We don't have a traditional beading. It's more on the east part of Europe,
Okay.
Eastern Europe.
Okay.
So for me, it was all new. And then so I noticed that the the tubular shape drove me to create ropes, which
Hmm.
I had no idea really what they were before seeing that book. And I started reproducing this basically these ropes. And so I made a lot of these beaded ropes during 2019. And at some point, people wanted to buy them. I was like, oh my God, they wanted to buy them. So I was completely mesmerized. Things just happen once after another. So my first production was only beaded ropes, and I integrated with the peyote stitch and cubic right angle bead after that.
Okay. So we're looking at first your hop the hoop lariat, and then your portofino sautoir. A sautoir is a kind of necklace the word sautoir means a long beaded necklace, typically
Yeah.
of the sort that flappers would wear, either very, very long or draped twice around their necks.
Mhm.
And here in this Portofino lariat, we can see how you are combining techniques. And
Yeah.
here's a detail of the Portofino lariat. And
Mhm.
then, your work starts to get more complex, you could say more sophisticated. It starts to diverge from Wiener Werkstatt beaded ropes in a big way, and it
Mhm.
becomes uniquely your own. And we see this here in this baby pods necklace, the detail of the baby pods, where you can see some relationship to the Wiener Werkstatt historical pieces, but you've invented a new genre, is what I want to say. Okay.
I didn't even know. Yeah, because I was in love with the cubic right angle weave. That's what happened. As soon as I took a class actually I took the class, can I say that, at the Creative Castle.
Oh, Carole Tripp's
Carole Tripp, she taught me the cubic right angle weave.
Carole Tripp taught you. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
because I live so close. I live in Ojai, and the Creative Castle was 40 minutes far.
It was in Newbury Park before it
Newbury
closed.
Park. So I was just driving there, and I was like, well, this place is amazing.
I didn't
She
know that
taught me
because
the cubic.
Carole is a friend of mine, right? I,
Yeah, I kind of knew that. So I
I
wanted to
didn't
mention
know
her
that.
because she was the one that opened my world of like exploration of cubic right angle.
Okay, she's a very cool person in every
Yeah.
way. Okay, so here we move on to an overall shot of your baby
Hmm.
pot's necklace. And, for me, this is definitely like a signature piece. It shows that you now have your own vocabulary and your own aesthetic, right? And
Hmm.
I find it to be kind of European as opposed to not so much American as European. But
I
that's
don't know. People say this thing. To me, is like whatever. I just expressing myself. I have no idea how it can get received from the external world. So
that's
yeah,
kind of
makes
your
sense.
color choice,
Hmm.
your positioning of the elements. Yeah, it's a very unique sensibility. It's very distinct from what
Hmm.
anyone else has done. Now we move on to the Bowie's collection necklace, where you're kind of exploring this notion of chains, cubic right angle weave chains. Did Carol also teach you the chains?
No, no, that's after that one class, I just learned the stitch and then I just went on my own
Okay.
exploration.
Okay.
And I just figured out there's so, since we always have to remember that I come from animation. So
Mm.
everything I design has this playfulness. I
Okay.
just can't be serious. If I try to design this serious, it come out awful.
Okay.
So boring. And so I figured out I can't do that. I get to explore the playfulness, which is a smaller niche, but it's also very unique because it's just truly me. And so these chains to me, they kind of remind me some sort of like animation character because they're chunky and striped. There is a sense of like some people say it reminds a little bit of Dr. Seuss illustration, all the stripes, because I make links that are also striped. So they also have tiny links in the link because the stripes reminds of other links. So there is a sense of like the geometry is kind of like a cluster, and I like that, the cluster that you can create with links. And I gotta say, I haven't explored as much as I wanted because I had to do this production line. The buoys is totally for sale. So they're always the same design, but there's so much that I want to explore in the concept of the link because
Mhm,
there's
mhm.
so much to be done, I
I
think.
agree. Now tell me about these big orange beads. Where did you get them and what are they made of?
Those are lucite beads. They are, I collect. So during this exploration of beads, I became obsessed with the vintage lucite.
Okay.
So I collect all this vintage lucite, and I kind of think the lucite was created in Italy. It's called lucite.
Okay.
In Italian. Yeah. And then they say United States, they took them off, and now all the species are in the US. So
Okay.
I luckily enough found sources where I can buy them. And these are particularly beautiful because they're so playful.
Mm.
They're big and bold, and I have them in few colors.
Mhm.
So I created all this buoys collection with different colors combination. And it's pretty successful. One of my most successful, I would say, series that I've done.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. These are fabulous. And then here's one in green and pink and yellow,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, green and pink is one of my favorite combination. I do a lot of things in green and pink.
Yeah, I see why. I mean, it's just really strong,
Hmm.
beautiful, very elegant. Okay, now we move into the pieces that, where you continue to refine your vocabulary and your aesthetic. And nobody that I know about has ever done anything like this. Now, if somebody wants to tell me that they've seen it somewhere before you did it, I'm happy to listen.
Me
But
too. I want to know.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it. I've never seen
Yeah.
anything even sort of like this. And I remember, Mara, the day that I was on Instagram a few years ago, I don't know when, and I saw one of a piece like this. I'm like, who is this? Who?
Wow.
is-
I'm
Because
honored. I didn't know that.
this is true. This is new in the history of beadwork.
Mm.
Okay, nobody has done anything like this. It's a new vocabulary. It's a new approach. It's a new aesthetic. Okay, and you
Mhm.
invented it, as far as I know. And here is your Vienna Symphony piece, which I absolutely love. And to me, it looks like, I don't know, it looks like a roadmap. And
Mhm.
where there's so many roads, there's so many options
Yeah.
you could choose, and there are roundabouts, and there are like
Yeah.
shortcuts, there are dead ends, there are points of connection. I absolutely love these pieces. How did you get the idea to do this?
I was just exploring what could I do. Honestly, I was just exploring what can be done with the free form, with the cubic right angle tubular. Should I say
Tubular,
tubular? Yeah.
tubular cubic right angle weave.
Cubic right angle.
A lot of
Yeah.
people would call it tubular craw, but I mean, tubular
Ah,
cubic right angle weave is
yeah.
fine.
And because what my point, my whole which is very simple. My simple idea was I want to use cubic right angle as if it was how can I say, a paper cutout. So I only use this bead mesh with one stitch, which is the crow, and it became from a distance, it looks like a paper cutout because people frequently ask me, what is it made of?
Hmm.
Because it's all the same shape and it's flat, but at the same time it's thick. And I like the quality of this bead mesh because it's flexible, but at the same time is really geometric and is sturdy. Sturdy. I don't know if I say it right. Yeah, and
Sturdy,
yeah,
sturdy. Yeah.
sturdy. So I wanted to explore what can be done, how much flexible can be a mesh, a bead mesh, and
Mhm.
I kind of explore all that. And I made also another one, which is the Montezuma color in the same. And I made several. I don't have first, but they all sold. So I'm gonna hold on this. I don't want to sell these pieces, the one that you like, and they're because I think they're iconic. But it was just an exploration, and this reminds me of musical symphony because, like you say, there is so many. There is a sense of a pace, and there is a narrative. So like in music, you have a narrative. You go and then like you say, you find a dead end and then you stop and then you go again in circle. So there is a sense of rhythm, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a sense of a whole, a very pleasing whole, which is sort of comprised of many parts, but more of what I see is just the whole. And I love your color choice here, which is so, it seems to me, so European, right? It's
Mhm.
just so beautiful and rich. Now, pieces of this nature you were mentioning to me when we met, a few weeks ago on Zoom here, to prepare for this interview, that pieces of this nature sell pretty well at shows like the Smithsonian show,
Mhm.
because this is a very sophisticated customer who
Yeah.
understands this piece, and you find many of them, God bless them all, in Washington, no,
Yes.
really, in Washington, D.C. at the Smithsonian show, probably the
Yeah.
Philadelphia show too. In years past, we would have found them at the Evanston show, American Craft Exposition, which closed a few years ago. But there is a market, you could say, for these pieces in the U.S., where women really understand them and really want to wear them. They're very wearable. As
Mhm.
we see here in these model shots here, they just fit beautifully. They adapt to the neck beautifully. And
Mhm.
I think simple black outfit and you're done. You're ready, right?
Yeah, it's a statement piece. You don't
Uh-huh.
need anything else. Yeah.
Statement piece, exactly. And the Montezuma necklace, same thing here, just different, of kind of a variation on the theme.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
a beautiful model wearing, this necklace too. Looks fantastic. I love her green eyeshadow. Okay.
Yeah, I know this is all my stylish. Even the asymmetric hairstyle, because the piece is very asymmetrical. This one, even more than the other one.
Okay.
And so the hairstyle was like, I think the cherry on cake. I really like that hairstyle that we
And
did.
you're the one who styled this shot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, you
Hmm.
styled her hairstyle. You gave her the green eyeshadow,
Yeah.
right? Really beautifully done. And the soft, coloration on
Mhm.
her lipstick is beautiful. Now, I wanted to include an image. We agreed that we should include a slide showing the two necklaces side by side, the Vienna
Mhm.
necklace alongside the Montezuma necklace, just to see, how you're varying, how you continue to explore the same
Mhm.
theme in
Yeah.
these different necklaces. All right, and then we move on to your Narcissus necklace. Again, this is this lady is it a wig? It's a pink wig,
It's a
right?
week. I'm
Oh,
in the weeks. I've always been in the weeks.
okay,
Like,
okay, okay.
yeah.
So you styled this image, and a
Yeah.
photographer took the image, but you styled the model
Mhm.
wearing your piece called the Narcissus necklace here. And she's looking into a mirror, and
Mhm.
she can see her reflection, and so can
Yeah.
we. I feel like, we see the necklace, but the necklace to me is now secondary to the model and
Mhm.
to the narrative, to the drama of whatever is going on in the image, just very,
Yeah.
very compelling. And these kinds of images that you create um, are featured in European fashion magazines. So this was featured
Mhm.
in Gimaro. Is Gimaro European or is that New York?
I think Jumar is New York. The
Okay.
one, the one that you're talking about, European, is Malvi magazine
Okay.
that
Okay.
we
Well,
have at the end in the other session. Yeah.
Is
So
it?
some are European, some are American. They're all independent magazines. Yeah.
Okay, but American, very upscale. I mean, very sophisticated.
Yeah, yeah.
Gmar. Okay, and here we have a detail of the Narcissus necklace on the model here. And then we have a detail of what you're doing with the beadwork. It's more cubic right angle weave, but you're sort of doing, you're combining it with peyote and you're in.
Yeah, I have extrusion. I call it extrusion of peyote because they're just extrusion. One thing I want to say about this whole work with cubic right angle wave, I do work with negative space. I
Uh-huh.
always think wearability. So the pieces are light
Okay.
because negative space plays a big role in the forms and in the right in the dynamic of the piece. So
Right.
there's all this emptiness that of course has no weight. So
Mm,
when you wear it, it's actually surprisingly light. A lot of people say, "Oh, it looks." I thought it was heavier
mhm,
because I have neck issues. So I could never wear something that's heavy. So I always think constantly of wearability.
mhm.
So the pieces that are extremely large and there is a lot of dynamic. They're very like monuments. This is a monumental piece, I would say. At the
Mm,
same time, they're really, really easy to wear. And I use magnets. So you just break it, put it on and off.
mhm.
So it's a mix between something that could be considered monumental, important statement, but at the same time, extremely wearable.
Yes. And
Yeah.
also kind of fun, as you said, you really like fun.
Yeah.
Colors are very fun, right?
Yeah.
Beautifully done. And here we move into your Creaturo
Ooh,
series
yeah.
of pieces, okay? And here's a necklace worn on a model. How did you get started doing the Creaturo pieces?
Well, because I'm an animation, so and also when I was in LA, my initial years as a member of the Los Angeles Art Association, exhibiting in small galleries, I was exploring the. I don't know if a lot of people know this genre. It's called pop surrealism.
Pop surrealism.
Is a genre that is connected to animation and comic strips.
Hmm.
It was invented in the 70s with this Juxtaposed magazine, which was born in LA. And the
Okay.
owner is the creator of this magazine is the one who owns the gallery, La Luz de Jesus.
Mhm.
And so all these people that were part of the movement, the pop surrealism, all these big artists, I had the chance some of the time to meet them in person. Now they're old, but I know sometimes to see their work. And for me, that was amazing coming from Rome. So I started this creaturo idea, sketching some images taken from one of those famous artists, and which now I can't say the name.
Uh,
Sorry, I
Gary,
really can't.
Gary Baseman.
Yes, Gary Basement. Yeah, I have brain fog sometimes. I just like
His
go
name is
blank.
coming up in the next one of the next slides.
Okay, yes. So that was art, everything generated because I love these creatures with big hands, with this long limbs, long and soft and curly, entangled limbs. And they're so like charming and cartoonish. And so I figure I can do that with cubic right angle weave.
Okay.
That was the
Good.
challenge.
Here's a Creaturo in black necklace. It doesn't show up that well against the black background. Oh, in the next slide, we have it against the white background with two detail shots. And as you mentioned, the clasp is composed of two beaded magnets or a pair of magnets that you bead
Yeah,
over.
they're beaded in the mesh. Yeah. I
And
don't use glue whatsoever. So everything is beaded, nestled inside
okay,
the mesh.
this is mostly cubic right angle weave, right? Tubular.
Yeah. And if you notice, there is a detail of the hand because so this one is the typical cartoon hands with four fingers.
Okay,
If you see all the cartoons from the Mickey Mouse in the 40s, 30s, whatever it was, they have four fingers because it's easier to make four fingers than five. And you don't really need five. But then in the next generation of Creatura, I added a fifth finger. So that's the difference. It makes me laugh because there is a difference in my previous creation. They only have four fingers. Now they have five. That's
okay.
the big change that I've done.
As you were studying animation, right?
Mhm.
So it makes sense that you would be focused on this kind of,
Details.
yeah,
Yeah.
details and
They're
presentation.
so important. But
They are, no, but if you hadn't mentioned that some have four fingers and some have five,
yeah.
I would not have noticed. Okay.
Hmm.
And I absolutely love this doll brooch. Um,
Mm.
I think it's amazing. It's absolutely spectacular. Tell me about how did this piece come about?
Yeah, those are the same thing. So I was just exploring, like I can make necklace, I can make brooches, I can make pendant in different sizes. So I try to size down, which is kind of a challenge because I only use 11
Okay.
beads.
Okay.
So if I size down, I get to remove all the details.
Mm,
Otherwise, it's too big, right? So the mesh only allow you a certain size, which I find to be amazing because it's very nice, this kind of size, which is great for the purpose. So my brooches are all big. But in this case, I wanted to try to add elements of decoration in the head. So I put these two water pearls. And
okay.
I've done a series with different kind of water pearls. Some of those creatures they only have one on the side that kind of looks like a balloon
Mhm.
for comic book, you know. So it's kind of interesting to play with these elements that I add. And the design, I'm trying also to give the design of the body a little bit of dynamism.
Okay.
So this guy has kind of sleeves.
Mm,
Some of them are kind of gloves. So they're all like I'm trying experimenting with the few elements that I have, which are just the limbs and the head, and there's not much.
okay.
But I think sometimes restricting the elements creates more creativity, right?
Yes. Yes. If
Improve the creativity. So
you impose constraints.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Yeah.
And so the gold beads here, are those pearls too?
Those, the one in the middle, this is again vintage repurposed copper,
These are
which
copper beads?
yeah, they're so light because they're all hollowed inside.
Okay.
You're looking at the one, the Creatulo doll brooch
Yes.
inspired by Gary Baseman. Yeah, those
Yes.
are, if you look at them by close, they are damaged. They have some like mark or
Yes.
stain, which
Okay.
I love. They give the piece a sense of like being ancient. It's
Yes.
kind of funny because it's like cartoon character, but it's ancient. So I like that. I like combining different elements that they give this vintage look, but at the same time, it's very contemporary. So it cannot be like it's bizarre. Like, yeah,
I would
I,
also say that this is kind of even futuristic. Mm.
yeah, it's a little bit, it looks like a robot. Some people told me
Yeah.
it looks like a robot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
mix. Yeah.
And the next one is a pendant. And what are these white beads here?
Those are again vintage faux ivory.
Okay. The
Remember back
necklace.
in the days, they were doing the faux ivory, which is a plastic, is a resin.
Yes, I do.
Right. My
Yeah.
grandma used to have a bunch of this for a lot. So part of my fascination with vintage elements is because my grandma, I was always open her cabinet of
Mm.
magnificent jewelry that were like at the time were considered not fancy because they were cheap, but now if you go back, they're really valuable.
Yes.
So, and that faux ivory always fascinated me. And this one have this, I don't know from the photos we can see, they have this interesting carvings.
They look like they're faces. Are they faces?
Exactly. And they're not faces, but the way I put them together, it could be faces. So I like that. I like to play with that.
Okay.
And
Beautiful.
they're absolutely adorable. And I don't have that many left. So
Mm.
my heart is broken because I can't find that many anymore.
Right.
I will let them move on.
If
But
I ever see some, I'll let you know, but I've never seen them before you use.
yeah, it's the really, really, and this one, in fact, he has the one only balloon, the one you see after
Mm.
through the, and that's a Baroque pearl, and
Mm.
it kind of look like the character with the thoughts. You know, when you in comic
Oh,
book, you make the
oh,
thought,
yeah, a thought bubble. A
a
thought
thought
bubble.
bubble. Yes,
Oh, fabulous. No, I
yeah,
love it. And here we have your Creaturo hands earrings, and I would guess that you have sold quite a few of these because they're fabulous.
yeah. Those are a little bit heavy. My hair, so my I can't really take that much the weight of this big, large earrings that I do. So sometimes I make it and like I hope that people have better lobes than I do because I gotta say they're not that light because unfortunately there is still a sphere which is resin. So although it's hollowed inside, it's still a little bit of weight. So that's something I still can't. mm, I can't fix that. So that's the only thing about my earrings that a little bit it's giving me headaches because I'm trying to make as light as possible. But in the new generation of this very long hands earring, I'm using I only do one row of mesh. So this mesh, as you can see from the detail, is two
Mhm.
cubic triangle units.
Yeah, 2 cubes high.
Yeah, exactly. So
One.
in the new generation, I'm creating a method to make only one. So they
Mhm.
are slightly lighter. They're a
Right.
little bit lighter.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Great.
I'm working on it. I'm gonna
You'll do it. You'll do it. I have no
yeah.
doubt. And next we get to this. This is probably, it's hard, but this is probably my most absolutely favorite necklace of yours. I think it's
Hmm.
absolutely brilliant. You made this for a residency in Athens, right? This is called We Are Watching You, the
Yes.
necklace and earrings. Tell me, how did this come about?
This is also very another emotional story. I was devastated by something happened in Italy at the time.
Mm.
A girl was attacked, and I was really, really angry. And during and this, I was doing the residency in Athens, and I was fascinated by all these evil eyes that
Ah,
they have in Greece. The
okay.
evil eye, which is a very Mediterranean symbol, although in my region we don't have. But in
Mm.
Sicily, they would have that because
Sure.
it's Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I didn't know there was so wherever you walk in Athens, for the ones that have been there, there is evil eyes everywhere. And they
Mm.
looked that they're looking at me. And so I combined these two things, the location where I was and the ancient symbolism of the evil eye,
Mhm.
and the fact that happened that really shook me. Because what happened that all those people were taking videos of the aggression and it was circulating in the internet. And that thing really gave me the chills. And I realized, so I made a statement about what it means to be alive nowadays, where we are forced to look at things 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
And the camera is like a big eye, always open,
Right.
looking at everything, the good and the bad. And we are forced to know everything that's happening, that we like it or not. And so I made this piece that is called We Are Watching You, because it's a statement about, yeah, we have to watch, we are forced to watch,
Mm.
and dealing with the emotional impact that everything has on our life. And that's our life from now on. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. So I think what you're saying is that the crime against the woman was videotaped.
Yeah.
Videotape was put online.
Yeah. And he goes, everybody's trying to get it. All these sick people. Yeah. And I
Wow.
think that's happened all the time. At just this particular time, I was informed about it, and something happened in Italy, so I was really, really uh, hit by the emotional impact of this. Yeah.
So it's a double layered violation of the
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
and it's also a violation of, I don't know, what we want to see online, what we want to see other people putting online,
Yeah. And also for the victim.
for the
Like victims, sometimes they don't want to be shown. They don't want to people know. Yeah. So
no,
it was
no.
horrific. And but by I decided to transform sorrow into art. And I made this large piece for a show that actually was held at the Greek embassy last year at the New York Jewelry Week in New
Okay,
York
okay.
by the Elias Layunis Jewelry Museum. And so this show was exhibited there, and there was all the explanation. So I hope that other people could benefit of this tragedy in a way that, you know, I thought it was a beautiful way to celebrate with creativity my feeling of sorrow and
Mhm. While also, sharing your sorrow and hopefully educating other people about
yeah,
not to stand by and watch a crime and videotape it, right?
yeah.
But
I've
to,
just learned though that those people they attacked the girl, all seven of them in jail, and I was so grateful for that. It
there are
just
seven,
happened.
there were seven of them.
7 people, yeah,
Oh,
they're all
well,
in jail, and I was really happy because at least justice has been done. It
yes.
took a year, but this piece I will always remember because it's very emotional to me, and it also is so weird that things happen. Life is so unpredictable. I was in Greece, and I made this piece with the Greek evil eye, which is connected to other factors and other things that happen. So it's all about our experience as artists. I think everything we do is filtered by our eyes and our hearts and our experience.
I agree.
So, yeah.
And here are some incredibly beautiful detail shots of this piece, which is again a cubic right angle weave. I think it's all cubic right angle weave, but you've created this like it's framing devices for the eye motifs. It seems to me this is all about, and I could
Mhm.
also see how there are pathways going on here. There are roads, and it's like a map of sorts. It's a symmetrical map to me.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
To
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
And I absolutely love this piece. Now we come here to a detail of the, an eye motif that that's I don't think is it in this piece, the piece that's against the brown.
Yeah, I haven't finished that yet. I'm trying to make another exploration of this thing, which is not symmetrical. I
Right.
made the sketch and I want to do it eventually when I have some time. So this was the beginning of that. And it's gonna be completely like a mass of eye in a symmetrical way,
Okay.
very
I
freestyle.
know you sent me an image, a photo of your sketch, but I couldn't find it.
Oh,
So maybe
oh, okay. Mm.
email it to me again and I will insert it when I go to put in the
Yeah.
slide. Okay.
Mhm.
Because I find it absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, I want to do the piece. I want to make it very during these holidays. I have time. I want to make the piece. Yeah.
So it'll be asymmetrical because the We
Mhm.
Are Watching You necklace is symmetrical.
Yes, perfectly symmetrical, which is kind of like uh to me is becoming the norm to this, and it was so hard to start
Mhm.
the symmetric pieces
Where did you start with this piece? Where did you begin?
from the central part, the
Okay.
center,
Okay.
the one you see in the middle, and then I expanded, and the inspiration came from the typical Greek chest ornament, which is called katostara. It's a
Okay.
chest ornament which is very large and has brooches coming out to the shoulder, and then they are connected with the central part. So
Okay.
I kind of want to reproduce that sense of being a chest ornament. So I started from the middle and then I expanded. And I think it was a really interesting way to create shape a piece.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
completely. Absolutely beautiful. Now, as it happens, you have this piece behind you here, don't you?
Yeah.
Could you show it to us?
Yeah. Right. So this is a very long piece. So we start from the usual magnet.
Okay.
And then we had this part on the side, but I had two little hives on the side.
Mhm.
And this is the central part that I started with.
Okay. Just beautiful. And could you
Mm.
hold it up a little higher so we can see the
Yeah.
bottom? Yeah.
Some
I
people say they remind them a little bit of Native Americans' art. I heard that.
I
I
can see
don't know
that.
because I don't really connect with that because it's not part of my experience. But so I heard a lot of things, people saying that reminds them whatever craft and art.
They get reminded of what they know, what they've already
Exactly, maybe, yeah.
know, so they don't know
That's,
what they haven't seen. None of us does, I think it's
I
fantastic.
like that they are so. What I like about the cubic right angle is that they are kind of flat. So that's why people ask me, what is this made of? Because it looks like an entire piece that has been carved.
Mm-hmm.
I
Hmm.
find it so interesting that it looks like it's being carved.
I also see it as kind of a drawing in space,
Hmm.
a sketch
Yeah,
drawing in space.
yeah.
And I think it's just incredible. So now we move on to your pods series of pieces. And here is an incredible model shot
Mhm.
um, of five or six pods rings. How did you come up with this series of pieces?
Oh my God. The pods is one of the funnest thing I have done. I think it's my signature piece. Actually, I'm wearing one now.
Mm,
And because it's so childlike. I
mm,
mean, as a child, you would just put wrapping something around your fingers to
mm,
make a ring. It's just a band wrapped around your finger. That's the simplicity. I think this design is beautiful because it's simple. There is a mesh, bead mesh,
mhm,
wrap around your finger with a sphere, which is supposed to be a gem, but it's actually so playful because it's actually not a gem.
mhm,
It's lucite again, and they're all marbled. They have these beautiful nuances. They're
mhm,
all like repurposed, and they're so playful.
Yeah.
So I think I was just kind of looking for something very playful and childlike when I
And
made
this
mine.
is again cubic right angle weave. You're
Hmm.
creating an oval in tubular cubic right angle
Yeah,
weave, and then you're situating a large bead at
yeah,
one end of the oval, right? I love it. I love
yeah.
it.
It's very simple. Yeah,
And so you can also create different sizes that way for customers who have different size fingers,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
No, they're beautiful. And here in this next image, we have the rings too. And you're also doing pods series bracelets, like in this
yeah.
image. I love this bracelet. And so the pods stick out on the wrist.
Hmm.
I mean,
So I combine the pod with the chain.
ah,
Which the chain, as you know, I'm very fascinated with. I also made chain now, bracelet where the chain link are different sizes. So they're kind of asymmetrical because they go from very small to very big. And
okay,
so it creates this asymmetrical, very contemporary look and one only pod sticking out.
okay.
So I'm doing variation. There's so much to do with one simple concept. So
Right.
many variation you can do.
Yeah.
But this one in the photo was the original one with 5 pots. So
Oh,
it's very baroque. It's very, feeling. It's a big statement piece. And what I like that when you move your arm, the pots go up and down. So they change their position.
okay. So this is an art piece. This is a piece for a gallery opening or an opera, going to the opera or something. It's not an
Yeah,
piece.
yeah.
So there are customers in this country for pieces like art jewelry pieces like this.
I hope so. I had to find them.
Oh,
Come to me.
they're there are. And I absolutely love these pods series necklaces that you've created. This
Mhm.
model here is this model shot is
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. And you styled this shot. You're the one who, the photographer took the shot.
Hmm.
You styled the model and did the makeup and draped the necklaces on the model. And that's why it looks so good. I mean, it's your
Yeah.
aesthetic, right?
Also, I work with the same team. For 5 years, I've been working with the same team, model, photographer, makeup artist.
Okay.
They're whole highly professional. I'm in LA, so that's the beautiful thing about LA. You find
Right.
professional in this field. Also, they're cheaper than New York, what I heard.
Really?
So that's the beautiful thing. I think because of the high competition that we have here.
Okay.
And I was lucky in that photo shooting. We were lucky enough because the model, she just came from a hair styling shooting, and she
Ah,
had the perfect hair for the shooting. If you look on the left side, I don't know if you can see from that
yeah.
photo, she
Yeah.
has green nuances, which go exactly with the color of the pods.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's God given. It's a miracle. I don't know that happened.
Has like pink accents in her hair too.
Pink and green, which
They
are
go,
the pastel colors that I have in my pods. I could not believe it.
I mean, these images are fantastic. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
you
so
can
happy
tell
with those.
so clearly why European and upscale American fashion magazines are so interested in your work.
Hmm.
There's drama here. There's extreme creativity, originality, and
Yeah.
beauty. Nobody does necklaces like these. I've never
Thank
seen
you.
them. Nobody. I've never
Hmm.
seen, and they're new in the history of beadwork too, which is quite an achievement. And here are some double pods earrings, which
Hmm.
I absolutely love.
Yeah, that's a very beautiful shape. I think it's a beautiful shape. I think people are not ready for that design though, because I show it and they haven't bought it yet.
Yeah, they
So
need time to get used to it, or you need to hit the right color combination that they
yeah.
want,
And I changed the wire because I wasn't happy with that simple wire. So now I made a more complex handmade wire. So to make it more appealing.
Good. Absolutely wonderful. I think they'll grow into it, but they need to,
Yeah,
nobody
hopefully.
else is doing this, Mara, in the
Hmm.
country that I know of. You're the first, so they need to adjust.
Yeah. Hmm.
And here we have a pod series necklace. That's in like shades of gold and red.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite. The color combination is so luscious because this I call it cherry nest or cherry. I don't remember something.
Mhm.
Because they look like cherries and they're so. One I have one here. They are so luscious because they have this cream marbled color that make them edible.
Yeah.
So they're so attractive, and the gold combination. It's so they make them precious. And so I had this photo shooting with this Asian model because we were feeling like we wanted to do something more in the aesthetic of the Asian, which is very, very minimalist, but also extremely refined and
Yeah,
elegant. So
yeah.
we tried this with, this is my only shooting with the Asian model so far, because I usually have my Vilena, which is the white blonde hair. Yeah, so I might do more in the future with this Asian. I love her. She's great. This
It's a
Asian
very
model.
dramatic image.
Mhm.
Is it a ring that she has in her mouth?
Yeah, that's what my decision. I wanted to create something that I don't know. I might have seen this in some more. I'm a cinephila. How you say that in English? I love movies. I
Oh,
studied movie history.
cinephile. You're a cinephile.
Cinephile. Okay, it was the translation from cinephila in Italian. And so I might have seen some of those Kurosawa movies where they
Mm,
had something in their mouth because it's something that the
okay.
thing, the jewel in the mouth is something that is not new and
Mm,
it's being used, but I can't remember now where and how, but it kind of emerged from my iconography in
yeah,
this photo shooting.
I can see Kurosawa here, a Kurosawa influence,
Yeah.
filtered through other things maybe, but yeah, absolutely. And the drama, the
Yeah.
drama here is fantastic. So we've seen a lot of pieces. Before we move on to your photo styling, could you show us some of the pieces that you've got there on the table?
Yeah. Well,
Maybe.
first of all, we had the rings, which I can wear all them together. You
Okay.
guys can see kind of like the model was wearing. It's gonna be kind of fun. Like all the pod
Yeah.
rings. So you can see how luscious are the colors. They're
And I like
so,
them together. I like them in
I know,
multiples, and
right?
in
It's
multiple.
so fun. And then I have one of my creatura dolls
Okay.
here. This one in particular is with silver-plated, repurposed vintage lucite, which
Okay.
are absolutely fabulous because if you look at this one, is oval.
Hmm.
It gives a different shape. And I put the same small size in the head's hair stylish, whatever it is, hair or ears.
Right, right, right.
And this comes with 5 fingers. It's important.
Right.
And it's a pendant.
Okay.
Then I have the Narcissus necklace, which is the
Beautiful.
one that we were describing. It's actually a winner of an award, design award in Portugal,
No kidding.
at
Wow.
the annual Collectiva meeting exhibit. And it was
Beautiful.
a very lucky design.
And I love how the pendants, the tassels move back and forth.
Yeah, they move. Yeah, it's a bit, it's kind of like, yeah. Some people told me it looks like a person. I don't see it, but yeah,
No, no, no.
everybody sees
Well,
different
actually,
things,
it does. It kind of does look like a person.
right?
It's a
Yeah.
sense, there's a figural sense to it, a
I
sensibility to
figured.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Abstract yet and also figural, right?
And
Just
then I have my best-selling commercial work, as I call it, is the
buoys. Yeah.
buoys. Yeah, so you
That's
can see
beautiful. So those
that actually was, I didn't say before, it was inspired by the Adriatic Sea. In the Adriatic Sea, we have floating buoys that it looks exactly like this. They're orange
oh, I
and
didn't
this
know
shape.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Those are
And I
beautiful.
created this fancy double closure. So
Okay.
you have an extension magnet, so you can make it shorter
Wonderful.
or longer. Gotta find the right. So
I'm gonna guess that people love that.
yeah, they love that. This resizable. Yeah.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
flexible.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that.
And ultimately, I get the pod necklace. This is one of my favorite one because it's so colorful. You have
Beautiful.
all these different colors. Every
Beautiful.
chain has different colors, as you can see.
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
last three ones are smaller. And I have the beautiful closure, which is in gold, and the
Yeah.
magnets. You
Okay.
just
And
like
again,
that.
these are size 11 beads. These are not delicas though. These are just size 11.
Yeah, Toho. Yeah,
They're Toho size 11 round
yeah.
seeds. Okay.
And they are ceramic coated. That's what I heard. So the coating they call Duracoat.
Okay. Okay.
I
Sure.
heard that some sort of ceramic coat. I don't know how glaze or whatever. So they're so luscious and they look like plastic, but it's not. Actually, it's glass.
No, again, and it's your color aesthetic, right? It's
Yeah,
beautiful. Beautiful. I love it.
and that's it.
That's it? Okay. All right. All right. So now we're going to move on to your photo styling. We're just going to see a few images that you have styled, model shots that you have
Mhm.
styled with your team, the model you
Yeah.
love you to use most often. and the makeup artist and the photographer, specular photography. Are they based in New York or LA? LA.
LA. Yeah, I just go there, and the specular photographer, his name is actually Ken, and the model is Vilena Poterva. She's
Okay.
an accomplished model and also becoming a DJ artist. So she's exploring music now. Yeah,
Okay.
they've been my team. And this photo shooting was extremely successful because we got into Malvi magazine, which is an European magazine.
Right.
And we had an entire pictorial. I invented the title,
Okay.
which was, I don't know if I didn't include it. The title for is Define Luxury
Ah,
if you can. Actually, we see in the next page
yeah.
spread.
It's here. It's here. Divine luxury if you can.
Yeah. It was a statement about the new idea, the new concept of luxurious, because now we are redefining luxury based on sustainability. So a lot of jewelry artists, they resource to repurpose materials and not precious.
Yes.
And
And what
so
you're
that's what my
using.
work is about. The baseball, embroidered baseball necklace and ring, it was a statement about repurposing leather from sport
Okay.
uh, objects, like especially baseball, which is a male doom. Like how can I say, is explicitly, explicit. Sometimes I can translate from Italian. How do you say, uh, rigorously
Okay.
gender related sport?
Yes,
Because
true.
for a long time, only white men, even was even a little bit racist because the black men get later on in the sport. So it was baseball, it was white men. And
Yes.
so I used the baseball, which is a symbol of a male sport, for a female ornament. And also the balls resemble breasts in this photo, if you see the photos. And so it was it was like edgy
Yes,
state.
very, very edgy. And also the model is holding these two baseballs near
Yeah.
her breasts, right? So
Yeah.
there's a certain resonance there for sure, and a certain tension, definitely
Yeah.
edgy. And when I first saw these images, like, well, who is that? Who's doing this? And I found out it was you. I was like, well,
Mhm.
this is so different. This is so
Yeah.
avant-garde, we would say
Yeah,
edgy,
that shot.
avant-garde,
Mm.
completely unlike any other photography of contemporary art, jewelry, beadwork that I know of, right? It's very different, your aesthetic and your team. You're creating
Yeah.
images that, European magazines snap up right away because they're fascinating, right?
Yeah. Also, this was published this October on Fiber Art Now.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot to mention it was this October in the October edition of the magazine. So I was very happy with this because it's an American
Yes.
magazine.
Yes, American kind of craft magazine. So what
Yeah.
you've done is you've beaded these old baseballs. You've attached beads to them, right?
Mhm.
You stitch beads to them. And
Yeah, what I like about the baseball, I was trying to launch a workshop. It was never successful, unfortunately. But what I loved about embroidery, repurposed leather from baseball, is that it comes with pre-made holes. So you
um,
just have to stitch in the holes. You
okay,
don't have to go through the leather, which is hard. You just have the pre-made holes.
okay.
And so that makes it so simple. It's so slick too. It's very
Mm.
slick. You have the holes and you just wrap them with beads.
So you're sort of, you could say, almost feminizing an archetypically male form
Yes.
or male
Yes, exactly.
related object, a
Yeah.
male gendered object.
Yeah.
And then when you put the beads on, of course, they can never be used as baseballs ever again.
No, and the beads are so playful, and most of them are even like no precious. They're like it's a mix of plastic, water pearls, a mix of everything, and the result is very chaotic and cheerful and
Mhm.
feminine and childlike. So it's a lot of things together. They look like toys.
Yeah, they look like toys,
Mhm.
playful. You love playful things,
Yeah. Hmm.
following your background in animation. And these look
Yeah.
playful, but also edgy. Okay.
Hmm.
And here we have the cantaloupe parure. A parure is a set, traditionally, it's a French word meaning a set.
Yeah, I keep using that word. Then I realize, do the people know what that means?
In
Yeah.
America, and maybe not so common, maybe,
Yeah.
among scholars, maybe, but in very, very common, and maybe earlier in the 20th century, and among
Oh,
Europeans, probably, being a French word, very
yeah.
common. So this, you have a necklace here on the same model and
Mhm.
a bracelet.
Yeah.
Right. Beautiful. Now, I absolutely, again, when I first saw this image, I'm like, who is doing this? The cherry nest
Oh,
necklace.
that I love that photo. It's
That's a
like,
fabulous photo. It's so, I mean, Renaissance, obviously.
yeah.
Um, but how did it come about?
I just staged the whole thing. I was like, I want to make this piece that I made. It resonates with me in a way that I didn't plan. It looks kind of like the window of those Renaissance churches in Siena.
Mhm.
So if you look at around the sphere, there is this little column, and
Okay.
to me, the central part where the red cherry is and two whites on the side, it kind of resembled the architectural shape of this arc. They had three arcs in these churches, so
Okay.
there were windows with three arcs, one on the top and two on the side, with little columns around, and
Okay.
it kind of like resembled that beside the spheres that I put in the middle. So I immediately thought about cartoonish, playful pop Renaissance.
Mm.
And so I made this, I staged this Renaissance beauty
Mm.
with all the light. It took a while to put the light.
Yeah.
This is a different team. This is my friends that do art photography for fun. There is a couple, and they
Okay.
always help me in the initial stage of my experimentation. So they put, it was very, very hard to recreate that light. If you can see the skin, it's marvelous. It's like a marble.
Now it's
And so, yeah.
beautifully done. Yeah. And it's like the kind of dramatic lighting you find in it is a Vermeer painting, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we were trying. And I
Haven't
tell you, it takes a
done.
long time to do,
Yeah.
to achieve that.
And it's very
That
dramatic and unexpected.
Yeah, so we achieved the light, and then I put my touch of pop art in the mouth.
Okay.
So
The
she's a
lipstick.
big dot,
Okay.
like very cartoonish, very what's the name of that character? Betty Boop, Betty Boopish.
Sure. Yes. Yes, you're right.
So
You're right.
that
Absolutely.
was the contrast that I wanted to create, like the Renaissance but pop, contemporary, toyish kind of like, yeah.
Just beautiful. And here's a detail of the necklace where it's kind of compressed at the top. And
Mhm.
again, the model. We don't, do you have an image of the earring that I could include in the slideshow?
I have others, yeah.
Maybe you could
I have
send
it
me,
on against the black.
okay, great. Maybe
Yeah.
you could send me an image of the
Yeah.
earring. I'll include it in our slides. Now we're coming towards the end here. Here's Beautica magazine. Is that American or is that European?
Honestly, I can't remember. I have to say, I have to be honest on this one. I'm fuzzy because it's been a while ago and I can't remember. I think it's European though.
Hmm, okay. And
Yeah.
so this is the model you like working with, right?
She's
Okay.
wearing a wig. Yeah.
Wearing a wig, okay. And she has very dramatic makeup on, and she's got a necklace on and some rings, right?
Yeah, I love that piece. It's again, I use this purpose lucite beads from the 70s, which are, I call them pills because inside there is the little colorful pills. So I call these rings the pill rings.
Okay.
And I made a series also in gold, which is kind of funny because the gold contrasts with the plastic and the color. And I wanted to recreate these images from the magazine of the 50s or the 60s with the Twiggy, that model Twiggy.
Oh, Twiggy,
Yeah.
sure. Yes,
And
yes.
so I went through this iconography and I found this nice blouse,
Okay,
very expensive blouse, which actually I'm wearing. It's beautiful.
okay,
And I had the idea to put this fake grass because at that time everything was plastic.
okay.
Remember those days, everything was plastic. Plastic was just coming out and it was the new thing.
Yeah.
So a plastic grass was like the most luxurious thing you can have
Mhm.
back in those days. So I put all these things together to create that image of a new age, the age of plastic, and those pills. Because if I remember, I don't know if some movies or magazine, I remember it was a time where people were taking all those pills, vitamins,
Yeah,
right?
yes, you're right. Valium.
It was
Yeah,
this exuberance in consuming. It was the consumism just start rising,
yeah,
right? So,
yes, yes,
so
yes.
I think these images kind of want to resemble that. This woman falling in love with her plastic rings or something.
And I love the astroturf, Um,
Yeah.
it's fabulous. But I don't know what she's thinking. It's so hard to tell what is she thinking,
Mm.
what's the drama here? What's going on? What's
Oh,
the
it
mood?
is so funny because in these photos you can't tell, but during the shooting, of course, we took a lot, hundreds of photos. There is a photo where she's putting her hands with the rings on top of the turf, the plastic grass, and she's staring at the camera with this angry look. And I'm like, she looks like she just murdered her husband. And, and I was like, this is so
Well,
fun.
no, I
That
can,
was such a, so it's like
yeah,
a women power. Like she feels so empowered.
yeah.
Yeah,
That vibe here, kind of a, well,
yeah. There's some sort of empowerment and mystery at the same time. And I'm like, it's so hilarious because they look like the shots from a movie. And I
mhm.
wish we could have shot the whole movie because that would have been so fun.
So did you
Yeah.
tell her like what to look like, what kind of expression to put on, or did she just do it?
She just do it so she's a very good model because she can interpret the piece. When I
Uh-huh.
show her the combination of the makeup and the piece and I tell her what I'm trying to do, she interprets it. And most of the time she creates something that actually miraculously and magically goes with some sort of subconscious idea that I have that sometimes I don't even know. But
So
you
she's
can't get
picking
that's
up
the power. Was that?
she's picking up on your energy or the energy of the piece.
Exactly. It's the power of teamwork, I think.
Uh-huh. And her name
Mhm.
again is what?
Vilena Poterva, she's a Russian model. She lives in LA. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll include her name in the slides.
Yeah.
And then here's the final image of her, of Vilena. And
Yeah.
this is definitely very edgy. Okay.
It is. It's just it's
Very edgy. She's dining on a bracelet. I mean,
yeah.
it's like, tell me how did you come to this styling and to this kind of this drama, this narrative here?
Yeah. So again, we were trying to reproduce the hairstyle and the 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 glorious beauty of this Italian gorgeous actress in the 50s. I was thinking Sophia Loren, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so the dress, that's why the dress with the,
Mm-hmm.
Sophia Loren, she always had this very deep cleavage.
Yep.
And the style of dress is very much like that on the side, creating this V
Mhm.
like. And then again, I reuse the plastic grass because it gives me the sense of that the age of plastic that time. But I really love the idea of somebody finding a jewel inside of I don't know the name of that cupola. I call it the cupola.
A dome. It's a dome.
The dome, yeah.
In fancy restaurants, when they serve your entree comes covered in this dome, and then they typically have two waiters lift up. That one waiter lifts up yours, and one waiter lifts up,
Yes.
your
Can you
husband.
describe it perfectly?
Well, have some experience. Picks up
Yeah.
your boyfriend's dome, and then you both are delighted,
Mhm.
and you smell the beautiful food, and you see how
Yeah.
beautiful the presentation on the plate is fantastic. And that's what it is. I don't know the formal term either, but it's like a dome that it's a present.
Yeah. And it's fascinating. I was like, what if instead you find a bracelet? My bracelet, I've always been told to be luscious and edible because of the colors and the plastic. So I was like, she should eat one of those. And so we made a video also, which is on my website and the YouTube videos that she's actually opening and she does the whole thing and she pick it up with the fork. And I thought it was a beautiful, different idea to showcase the piece.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it worked. Some people say it was a little bit turned off when she put it in her mouth, but I don't know. I think it works pretty well. It's mysterious as well, like the other shot,
It's
enigmatic, I would say.
it's serious, but it's also playful, right?
Playful and surreal in a way. I like surrealism.
Oh, that's the best word. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the right word. It's very surreal. And
Yeah.
so you have a video of her doing this
Yeah,
on
it's a video clip in my YouTube channel. It's
okay.
actually on my website too. You can find it. Yeah.
Okay. So just, I mean, your jewelry work overlaps with your photo styling work, right?
Mhm.
Your creative universes really go well together.
Yeah, I think so. And I had to do more. I think I always scrape the surface, honestly. Because coming from the movie industry, although it was animation, we do a lot of thinking about creating video clips and everything is a narrative.
Yeah.
So my brain works in terms of narrative. So so I should do more of this video clip, and I want to get more into that.
Creating vignettes,
Yeah.
dramatic vignettes,
Mm-hmm.
with your styling expertise and your
Yeah.
gilding, right? And it's very powerful. And I can see right away why a magazine like Beautica would pick up on these images and want to reproduce them.
Yeah.
So, we're coming to the end of our interview here, and I want to let people know where they can find your work. They can
Mm-hmm.
find it at your website, www.maracole, or in Italian, maracole.com, right?
Yeah.
Or
I like
Morocco.
the Maracle. A lot of people think my name is Maracle Bijou, which I kind of love it
Okay.
because so I
Wow.
think I'm gonna adopt that as my name. So it's
Okay.
maracle.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've combined the Italian and the French there, right? Maracole.
Yeah, it's combined, but it sounds pretty
Oh,
pretty.
it's very pretty. And so is your last name pronounced Maracole or Maracole?
My last name actually is Colecchia.
Oh, I'm sorry. But okay, right. So Mara Cole is a combination of your first and last names.
Yes.
And your last name is Colecchia. Okay, so
Hmm.
they can find your work on your website. Now, your website right now is undergoing transformation.
Hmm.
And so it will very soon, within a couple of weeks, that's by Thanksgiving of
Yeah. Ish.
2024.
Yeah.
Around then, it will be an e-commerce website. So people
Yeah.
will be able to buy things directly from your website, and I predict that they will.
Yeah.
And they can also find you on YouTube. What's your YouTube channel name?
I think it's Saint Marco Bijou. I gotta look into that because I
Right, I'll,
can't
I'll
remember.
be sure to add that to this slide.
Yeah, I think it's
And
Marco Bijou as well.
okay. On Instagram, people can find you at Maracole, right?
Maracle that underscore artwear.
Uh-huh. Okay. I will correct that. I'll make
Maracle underscore artwear. Yeah.
okay.
Mm.
So, I have a question for you. You've come so far, you've done so much in your time here in America, following on your art training in Italy. What's next for you? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
See what do you be doing in 5 years from now?
So I'm definitely going to try to reinforce my online sales. I want to kind of get strong on creating my world as which I always had in my head, but never really put the time and effort to do it. So I can also live wherever I want in the world, which
Okay.
doesn't hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm thinking maybe to relocate somewhere in Europe. Lately, I've been dreaming about the Canary Islands because
Okay.
they're so beautiful. And it's Spain, so I'm an European citizen, so I can totally live
Mm.
there. So I don't know, I'm thinking maybe I would relocate somewhere in Europe and that part of the world, but I have still reinforced my online sales and trying to build all that apparatus, like we say, in
Right.
order to be able to do so, to sustain myself. So
And you had mentioned you might like to move to Tenerife.
yes, in the Canary Island, yeah. If doesn't get invaded by other people by then, because that would happen with Portugal. Used to be a very beautiful, cheap country. Now it's super expensive because it became fancy because everybody moved there.
A lot of expats living there.
A lot of expats. So when expats start moving, then things change fast. So we'll see.
Right. Okay, so and if you had to give advice to a new bead worker, someone who wanted to, sell their work online, or at shows, you've been through so much, you've tried so many different things. What are the three top bits of advice that you would give somebody who's just starting out now?
I like that. First of all, be yourself. Don't try to copy anybody else what you think is going to sell because it's proven that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Don't try to please the audience or try to reproduce things that are already there. We don't need another copy of something that's already there.
Mm.
So be authentic. The other thing, go bold, go bigger, bolder.
Okay.
Whatever your vision cannot be constricted. Your vision has to expand because I realize in art, especially, the more personal, the more successful.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
The more authentically
yeah,
you.
the more success. So if you want to go big and bold, be bold.
Okay. I
Yeah,
love
I think being bold always pays off.
it.
Yeah,
Okay. I think you're right.
yeah. And the other thing is like nowadays things are changing fast.
Mhm.
So you have to have the ability to change your perspective every 2, 3, 4, 5 years because things are changing so fast. This applies to every kind of business.
Mhm.
Every thought of years, you got to be able to reshape your thinking, your conviction, and try something different if you want to stay afloat.
So be willing to reinvent yourself,
Yeah,
actively reinvent yourself every
that's
step.
part of the game. If you don't wait to do that, maybe you should do something else because it's a tough business.
Yeah, so don't keep repeating yourself forever.
Mm-mm.
Change before your customers are ready for you to
Yeah,
change.
you have to have a certain sensitivity to understand where the trends are going and to understand if something is a dead end.
Yeah,
You don't want to keep hitting the wall.
right, right.
Hopefully, it's turned into a door. Who said that? Keep hitting the wall because you hope it turns into a door. That's
Oh,
foolish.
oh, I never heard that before. That works. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Hmm.
Mara, thank you so much for coming on my channel and talking to me. It's been wonderful working with you. And I would like that maybe in a year or two, whatever, maybe when you've relocated to Tenerife,
Yeah.
or then we could reconnect and do just an update. We could have an
That
update
would be awesome.
on your work. And so I just want to thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Of course.